Today is one of those days rich in images and in story and in wonder. From the wonderful image that we have of Lydia welcoming the disciples, to the book of Revelation where we wonder about the healing of the nations and this one who comes among us in light and in truth, viewed with the metaphor of the Lamb who shines forth in the city of God. Yet I would like us to bring those images down to this one that we find in the gospel, this one of Jesus, entering into Jerusalem, being there among the poor, the lame, the blind, and proclaiming a new hope for one and for many. Now, it's fascinating because this pool of Bethzatha, for a long time, people simply said, it doesn't exist. It's a wonderful metaphor. It's a wonderful image about Jesus coming into Jerusalem and bringing healing to one person. And really what it's about is Jesus doing this on the Sabbath. Fascinatingly, over the course of the last number of years, archaeologists have been hard at work. And there, at this gate, they have found this pool with 5 porticos. And they have realized that this pool of Bethzatha did indeed exist. And actually that there were 2 levels of this pool. And Jesus went to the lower level. And there he conducted this healing. But it's not quite as simple as all of this. There are layers upon layers. Some like to think of this story almost as one of those Russian Matryoshka dolls, or the nesting dolls, in which you peel back one layer and there's another one underneath and yet another. And certainly here there is so much to that. So much to what is happening for Jesus and what is happening for this man, this invalid. And how it plays out on this holy Sabbath day. Now let's journey for a minute with Jesus. He goes into Jerusalem, this high place in which the leaders of the Jewish faith gather in the temple, the outpost of the Roman Empire, its quarters there, those who are overseeing this particular district of the Roman Empire. And Jesus goes in, and he sees what is happening in the city. He gets a feel for it. He's seeing some hypocrisy around him. He's worried about what is taking shape among the people. And my guess is he was walking along and came to this one area with this pool of Bethzatha. Another element to add to this mix is we like to think of Israel-Palestine as being Jewish and worshiping the Jewish God, one that we have come to know also within the Christian tradition, the God of Israel, of Jacob, of Isaac, the God of Abraham. But at this pool of Bethzatha, there were images of a Greek God. And that if people would come and be present there and ask for healing from this Greek God, they might be made well. Talk about a multicultural and multi-faith environment. And Jesus steps into that place where there is the presence of a Greek God, and he is living within the Jewish realm of what is kosher law, and who is ruling over the Jewish Empire with the Romans. He steps into that place and proclaims a new way of being. He goes to this place where the Greek God is viewed as savior or healer of the people, where the pool is stirred up. And he causes them to look in a different way. To say, what are you really looking for in your healing, and who are you really looking to as your healer? He steps into that place. Now, this pool, as the tradition or the story goes, if you could make it into the pool right after the waters had been stirred up, and if you were the first one in, the miracle would take place. You would be healed, and whatever your infirmity, it would be taken care of. Imagine being there for 38 years and never being able to be the first one into that pool. After 38 years, this invalid is exhausted, tired. He's sitting there along the side, very likely as much just with a handout, begging for a few alms, as he is for actual healing at this point. He's just wanting a little something to get by, to get from one day to the next. Because life has not been easy by any means. But it is there at that pool with this one who, for all intents and purposes, has given up, that Jesus steps. So a multicultural, multi-faith world with a person who's given up hope in actually being made well or seeing something new and powerful. And Jesus steps into that and says, I have a new word for you. And it doesn't involve going into some silly pool where the water's been stirred up and having to be the first one in there. But let me ask you first, are you wanting to be made well? Are you wanting things to be differently? Or at this point, have you gotten content and complacent with where things are at? You're okay paying homage to some foreign Greek god, sitting with a handout, and just hoping that you can make it through the next couple days? Or are you willing to see and to be part of something new? And this man opens his heart, his mind, and his very being to the possibility that something can be different. Something can be different. Now, I also want to pause here because I think it's important for us to distinguish both today but also historically this difference between disease and illness. And anthropologists tend to do a much better job at sorting this out for us than many. You see, disease has to do with our cells and organisms that enter in. It has to do with being physically sick. Illness has to do with something that then separates us from the society, from the people around us. Now, we don't know what this man was suffering from, but we do know that he is ill. That he has been cast off, that he doesn't have family or friends or anyone who's willing to even get him down into the water. And then Jesus steps into that place to say, I am going to bring you back into a sense of wholeness with community. That is the place where he brings healing. To say you are not going to be alone, but you are going to be brought back into connection with family, with friends, with the people of Jerusalem, that you will know a deep sense of healing in that way.